Chosen one, worry ends here. God is now covering every need you have. You didn't find this message by accident. This is your confirmation. This is the word you've been waiting for. The season of stress, the storm of fear, and the weight of anxiety. It's all being lifted now because something divine has happened. God has stepped in. You've reached the turning point from this moment forward. The burden is no longer yours to carry. Your Father in heaven is now covering every single need you have, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and financially. You are not walking alone. You're walking with divine backing. You're not pushing through life with your last strength. You're being held, guided, and supported by a force greater than anything that has ever come against you. Chosen one, watch until the very end, because there is a supernatural energy in these words. This is an activation of abundance, a movement of divine provision in your life. Something is shifting, something is aligning. And as you're listening right now, the universe is responding to the frequency of your faith. Go to the comments and write down your warmest, truest wishes. And the number 99, that is your declaration, that is your sign to the universe, that you are open, ready, and aligned. Let your heart speak. Let your spirit lead. Wishes are being heard, and manifestations are now in motion. Now, chosen one, like this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. Chosen one, let this settle deep into your soul. There is no need that will go unmet anymore. Not because you worked harder, not because you figured everything out, but because God has made the decision to cover you. He has made a decision to bless you in such a way that it silences every doubt and dries every tear. This is the divine economy you are now part of. Not scarcity, but surplus, not desperation, but deliverance. The time has come for the table to be prepared in your honor. The provision you couldn't imagine, the assistance you didn't see coming, the opportunities you thought were missed. They are now being orchestrated behind the scenes for your benefit. You have entered a divine covenant of covering. What does that mean? It means you're no longer surviving. You're thriving. You're not begging life to be kind to you. You're commanding your peace. You're no longer fighting battles without support. You're showing up in divine armor, shielded from worry, wrapped in the promise of already taking care of the things that used to keep you up at night. They are being handled. The responsibilities that crushed your heart, they're being lifted. The fears that once owned your mind, they're being silenced now because heaven has decided to take full ownership of your well-being. You might still see the same bills, the same situations, and the same people for now, but something invisible has changed. The shift is spiritual, and because it's spiritual, it's inevitable. You may not understand how it will all work out, but that's not your job anymore. It's God's. He's assumed the role of your provider, your sustainer, your supernatural support, and He does not disappoint. He is not delayed. He is not withholding. He is intentional, and He is fast. The moment you surrendered the weight, the moment you finally said, I can't carry this alone, that's when He moved in. That's when He said, I've got this now. Chosen one, your only responsibility now is alignment. That means staying in a state of trust. That means not returning to panic, not going back to old fears, not shrinking into what-ifs. And how will I again? Because the answer is this. You won't need to. God already has. He's already sent what you need. He's already placed the right people in your future. He's already opened doors that will shock you. The strategy is prepared. The supply is in transit. Your miracle is on schedule. Every tear you've cried over unmet needs, unanswered prayers, and unbearable pressure, they were not ignored. They were gathered, and now they are being exchanged for favor, for increase, for supernatural release. Heaven has been tracking your story, And God saw the exact moment you were about to give up. He saw the pain no one else saw. He heard the inner cry of your soul when you had no words left, and he decided to step in quietly, powerfully, irrevocably. You didn't see it happen, but it did that moment. You felt peace for no reason. That was the divine signal, that was the whisper from God. It's done. You are now walking under the covering of divine provision. That means where there was lack, there will now be plenty. Where there was confusion, there will be clarity. Where there was struggle, there will be ease. And it's not because of anything you earned. It's because of who you are and whose you are. You are chosen. And chosen ones don't beg. They receive chosen ones, don't worry. They expect chosen ones, don't chase. They attract. Because chosen ones walk in a truth that cannot be touched. They are divinely backed. Keep this truth in your heart. The pressure you are under was not meant to break you. It was meant to reveal that you never needed to carry it in the first place. You were never supposed to provide for yourself in isolation. You were never created to live in fear of how tomorrow would come together. You were designed to walk with assurance, to live with supernatural confidence, knowing that the source of your provision isn't your job, your connections, or even your plans. It's God, and He doesn't fail. So breathe, really breathe. Let that fear go. Let that anxiety dissolve. Let those worries about rent, bills, food, family, and your future drift away right now, because they are being handled by a higher force. You were never forgotten. You were never abandoned. You were never ignored. You were always seen, always known, always covered. And now, finally, it's your turn to witness what it looks like when heaven steps in. The weight is off your shoulders. The storm is calming. The angels have been dispatched. The check is already written. The call is already scheduled. The door is already unlocking. The answer is already here. Stay open. Stay aligned. Stay expectant, because the covering has begun and it only increases from here. You've spent a long time in survival mode, wondering how long you could hold it all together. You've juggled responsibilities that were never meant to be yours. You've tried to stay strong for everyone around you while your own heart was silently breaking. You've spoken faith on the outside while privately panicking on the inside. But now, the divine reversal has begun. Everything you once carried in silence is being answered in full. God is not just aware of your needs. He's ahead of them before the thought even forms in your mind. Before the worry ever reaches your lips, the solution is already in place. Provision is now flowing toward you in a way you've never seen before. It's not coming through the usual channels. And that's the point. It's coming from places you didn't even know existed. Unexpected hands are about to bless you. Unfamiliar faces are about to support you. Unknown avenues are about to bring income ideas and inspiration. You thought the help would come from one direction, but it's arriving from the exact opposite, just so that you'll know it's God and not man. This is a signature miracle, one that proves you are being divinely taken care of. No more sleepless nights worrying about what's next. No more scarcity mentality. No more bracing for bad news. God is flipping the script on your reality. He's removing you from the old pattern of panic, and He's positioning you for consistent provision. This is not temporary relief. This is your new normal. Stability is your portion. Now, security is your portion now. Favor is your portion. Now, even when others experience drought, you will have overflow. Even when the world screams fear, you will live in peace. Because your source is not the economy. Your source is not a paycheck. Your source is not dependent on conditions. Your source is divine and your provision is protected. And here's something you must embrace fully. You are not asking for too much. You are not dreaming too big. You are not being unreasonable when you desire ease, joy, and support. That desire was placed inside you for a reason. You were never meant to grind endlessly or struggle endlessly just to barely get by. You were designed to live from a place of divine flow, a place where what you need is already available and what you desire is already forming. You were created with a destiny that includes not only survival, but success, overflow, and the peace that comes from knowing you're always backed by something greater. This isn't just about money. Yes, God is covering your finances, but He's also covering your mind, your emotions, your relationships, your steps. The provision is all-encompassing, it's holistic. You're being protected from poor decisions, shielded from manipulative people, and guarded from traps that would have drained your joy and stolen your time. Every delay, every detour, every disruption, it was part of the protection plan. The no's that broke your heart were God's way of keeping you safe. And now you're about to understand why it had to happen the way it did, because you are being ushered into something greater, not through effort, but through favor, not through force, but through flow. This is where you stop striving and start receiving. This is where you rest in the promise that you are taken care of. Yes, things are still shifting around you and you may not have seen the full results yet, but don't be deceived. The roots are already growing. The fruit is on the way. The wind is changing in your direction. And the same way seasons shift in nature. Without human control, your divine season is shifting without delay. Chosen one, you have entered the dimension where worry cannot live. It simply can't survive. Where faith is dominant, the more you lean into this divine covering, the more things begin to move in your favor. Doors open faster. Money flows easier, support finds you quicker, and not because you're chasing it, but because you're aligned, because you've stopped rehearsing the story of fear and started walking in the truth of divine provision. This is a sacred recalibration. A supernatural reset. God is not trying to fix your old way of life. He's replacing it entirely. You will look back on this season and say, that was the moment everything changed. That was the moment God took over. And it won't be a temporary high, followed by another low number. This is permanent. This is sustained. This is the result of heaven taking full responsibility for your life. There's no longer a need for you to perform, prove, or push. All you need to do is believe, walk like it's already handled, talk like it's already provided, move like the answer is already en route, because it is. When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself, I am already covered when doubt tries to sneak in. Speak boldly. I am already provided for when fear whispers. Worst case scenarios declare with power. Every need is already met. You are stepping into a chapter where God's hand will be undeniable. People will look at you and say, how did that happen for them? And the answer will be simple. Divine provision. Not luck, not coincidence, not connection. God. He decided, He decreed, He delivered. And now you are walking in what was once only a dream. This is your reality now. The peace that surpasses understanding, it's yours. The abundance that arrives without warning, it's yours. The rest you couldn't find before, it's yours. The help you prayed for but couldn't locate, it's on its way now. Faster than expected, greater than imagined, deeper than hoped for. And the best part is just getting started. You haven't even scratched the surface of what God has stored up for you. You haven't seen the full picture yet. What's on the way is so big, so perfectly timed, so divinely aligned that you'll look back on every hard season and say, now, it makes sense. Now, I understand why I had to go through that. Because this was always the plan. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not lost. You are exactly where you need to be for the divine release that's already been prepared for you. The enemy tried to convince you that you missed your window, that your chance had passed, that your breakthrough was stuck in traffic or cancelled altogether. But here's the truth. Nothing God assigns to your life can be denied, delayed forever, or rerouted without His permission. Every second of waiting was preparation. Every delay was protection. Every disappointment was divine redirection. Chosen one, your supply was never in question. It was your readiness that was being shaped. You had to be stretched in faith. You had to be refined in patience. You had to be purged of doubt so that when the provision arrived, you would not sabotage it with fear. And now the shift has happened. Your spirit is ready, your vision is clearer, your heart is more open, and that's why the flow has started. God was waiting for you to trust what you couldn't see, and now that you've stepped into that trust, the covering has kicked in fully from here on out. You will notice that the things you used to chase now begin to find you. Resources that once seemed blocked will flow to you freely. People who were distant will suddenly show up with the exact support you need. Opportunities will arrive without the effort you used to apply. And no, this isn't fantasy, this is divine order. When you align with the fact that God is your source, not your job, not your income stream, not your contacts, then you unlock the realm where supply is limitless and time bends in your favor. This is what divine covering does. It removes you from the limitations of man-made systems and places. You heaven's economy, there are no shortages, there's no inflation there, no, not enough there in that divine space. Your needs are not simply met. They are exceeded. Overflow becomes your normal ease, becomes your rhythm. Peace becomes your power. You are being repositioned as a receiver, not a struggler, not a beggar, not someone trying to make ends meet. You are now standing under an open heaven where ends no longer just meet, they multiply. You no longer need to live in fear of lack. You are not running out. You are running into favor, into fulfillment, into financial flow, into spiritual ease, into relational joy, into health, into help, into every divine provision heaven had reserved in your name. You are being drawn to what was already yours. And it's not because of striving, it's because of surrender. That was the key. The moment you stopped trying to force the how and started trusting the who, everything shifted. Your energy is now attracting provision. Your peace is pulling miracles toward you. Your stillness is making room for supernatural supply to pour in. And this isn't hype, this is alignment. God has waited for this moment for your spirit to be calm enough to receive your heart, to be open enough to expand, and your mind to be quiet enough to hear the instructions. And now the instructions are coming, the nudges are getting clearer, the signs are showing up faster, and every time you follow the divine impulse, it leads to more blessing, more clarity, more ease. Provision is not always in money, it's also in information, in intuition, in insight, and you're about to be flooded with all three. You'll know which way to go, you'll feel who to trust, you'll sense when to move and when to pause. You won't have to overthink, you won't have to beg for clarity. It will come with precision, it will come with speed, it will come as confirmation that you are no longer operating on your own. The divine is in control. Now, and let's talk about what that really means. It means the stress is no longer yours, the confusion is no longer yours, the deadlines, the pressure, the obligations, they are still real, but the weight of them is no longer your burden. God is carrying the load. You're only responsible for obedience, not the outcome. And obedience will always open the gate to provision. When you follow the divine prompt, you unlock a new level of support. It's spiritual law. You're not working for favor, you're flowing in it. Even the people who counted you out, even the environments that tried to box you in, even the voices that told you you'd never be enough. They are about to witness what divine covering looks like. You're not the same person you used to be. The worry that once ran your life no longer has authority over you. You're moving in a rhythm of faith now, and that rhythm creates divine results. It creates financial grace. It creates relational harmony. It creates internal freedom, and those results will speak louder than anything your past tried to convince you of. You are the evidence that provision isn't about being perfect. It's about being positioned in trust, positioned in openness, positioned in surrender. And now that you're there, the floodgates are opening. You don't have to beg heaven for help anymore. Heaven is already dispatching help to your doorstep. Unexpected packages, surprising calls, random deposits, divine appointments, all of it is now your portion. All of it is now part of your reality. Chosen one, don't downplay what's happening. Don't minimize the shifts just because they're not loud or dramatic. Yet some of the greatest provisions begin as quiet shifts, but they grow, they build, they compound. And very soon, what started as a whisper will become a roar of divine favor in your life. What began as an invisible change will become a visible overflow, and you'll know, without a doubt, it was God the whole time. Everything about you is about to reflect divine provision. Your posture, your peace, your energy, your surroundings. The old energy that used to linger around you. That heaviness of not knowing how you would make it. That silent panic that hid behind your smiles. It's all dissolving now. The divine presence surrounding your life is bringing a new light, a new freedom. And here's the truth. You're now ready to accept the pressure to make things happen has expired. You are stepping into a realm where things simply begin to happen for you. Not because you're doing more, but because you're aligned more. You're aligned with God's timing, God's voice, and God's will. You no longer need to micromanage every detail or rehearse every backup plan. You're not walking blind, you're walking guided. You're not walking empty, you're walking covered in grace, covered in answers, covered in heavenly instructions. God has already mapped out every step, every connection, every breakthrough. You are not lost. You are led, even if things around you still appear chaotic. The shift is already real. The storm isn't evidence of failure. It's evidence of transition, and the bigger the wave, the bigger the clearing it's creating. There are divine winds blowing through your life right now, removing what no longer serves you, clearing paths you didn't even realize were blocked. You are being uncluttered, and as that happens, your energy will feel lighter, your environment will feel cleaner, your decisions will feel easier. That's the sign, that's how you'll know that God's hand is fully on your life. Your name is being spoken in rooms you've never entered. Help is being dispatched before you even ask. Heaven is working overtime for you, because the season has shifted from sowing to harvesting. You're no longer being tested, you're being trusted with peace, trusted with provision, trusted with next level responsibility, because God knows you've been through the fire and didn't break. You've endured silently. You've kept your heart pure when bitterness tried to creep in. And now it's your turn to receive what's been promised. Don't be surprised when people begin to notice the glow around you. Don't be shocked when doors swing open effortlessly. Don't be startled when your bank account reflects blessings you didn't even request, because all of it is part of the promise. You weren't just chosen to struggle. You were chosen to showcase what it looks like to live under divine provision. You are the example. You are the proof. And as God moves in your life, others will be inspired. They'll begin to believe in the unseen again because they'll see what's visible in you. This covering doesn't mean life will always be easy, but it does mean you'll never walk alone. It doesn't mean challenges will disappear, but it does mean you'll always have what you need to overcome. You've outgrown the old cycles of panic. You've graduated from desperation. Now, you're enrolled in trust. That's your spiritual education right now. Learning to trust that every detail is being divinely handled, even when you don't see how your only job now is to stay anchored, stay in the vibration of expectancy. That means waking up with faith instead of fear. That means speaking life, even when the outside hasn't changed yet. That means holding on to what's promised, not panicking about what's pending. The truth is everything is already in motion. The answers you thought were delayed are simply being timed for maximum impact. God isn't late, He's strategic, He's stacking blessings behind the scenes that will arrive in a divine cascade. And when they come, when the moment hits, when the transaction happens, when the shift shows up on the outside as strongly as you felt it on the inside, you'll be speechless. Not because you doubted, but because the way it arrives will be so personal, so detailed, so undeniably from God that you'll fall to your knees. In awe, you'll say, "This was made just for me." And it was every piece of provision coming your way has your name on it. Custom blessings, tailor-made support, perfectly timed open doors. This next phase of your life is not random. It's orchestrated, and you don't have to chase what's already assigned. When you're covered, blessings find you, favor finds you, money finds you, answers find you. You won't need to force conversations, chase approval, or beg for attention. You are magnetic now, not because of ego, but because of divine alignment. You're in the flow. And when you're in the flow, things show up faster. Answers come clearer, support feels warmer. You'll begin to feel it in your body too. Your shoulders won't carry so much tension. Your breath will deepen. Your mind will quiet. Because the inner shift always reflects outward. People may ask what changed, and you'll smile. Because how do you explain that? Heaven moved on your behalf. How do you explain that you let go of fear and stepped into the current of supernatural supply? You are not who you were. Even 1 month ago, something has been activated. The old survival script has been deleted. The new abundance script is being written right now through every breath, every thought, every act of trust. You are being taken care of. Not just enough to scrape by, but enough to thrive, to give, to rest, to enjoy. You are not just surviving. You are entering into a lifestyle of overflow. This provision is also preparing you for impact, because it's not just about you. As God blesses you, He's positioning you to be a blessing. You'll have more to give, more wisdom to share, more testimony to release. You're not just being covered, you're being commissioned to show others what's possible when you walk by faith. Not fear, commissioned to release light. Not worry, love, not scarcity, power, not panic. There is a divine ripple effect starting with you. Every breakthrough you're about to receive isn't just for your comfort, it's for your calling. Every provision that finds you, every overflow that reaches your hands, every supernatural solution that meets your needs will not only stabilize you, but empower you to stabilize others. You're being turned into a lighthouse, a divine example, a carrier of testimony. Because when others see what God did for you, how He removed your worry and replaced it with wonder, they'll be reminded that He can do it for them too. That's why the covering is complete. It had to be. You couldn't step into this next level with half blessings and limited faith. God is making sure that you're not only taken care of, you're fully resourced, fully fortified, fully favoured. This is the season where you become unshakable, where nothing can break your spirit. Not because everything is perfect, but because you finally know without a shadow of a doubt that God is responsible for your well-being. You can walk into rooms with your head high. Now, not because of pride, but because of knowing. Knowing that what's for, you cannot miss. You knowing that your needs are not an inconvenience to heaven. Knowing that your presence on earth is not a mistake. You are wanted here, needed here, supplied here. Every heartbeat you feel is backed by divine investment. Every breath that you take is evidence that God's provision is still active. And you'll notice it's not just in the big things. Either the divine covering shows up in the details, that text that came at the right moment, that stranger who smiled when you needed it. Most, that random deposit, that sudden cancellation of something that would have drained you. These are not coincidences. These are God's fingerprints. He is showing you day by day that He is here, He is near, He is handling it all. Even your schedule is changing. You'll notice some appointments falling off, certain obligations. Suddenly, dissolve. People who once demanded your time no longer have access, and it's not loss. It's alignment. It's part of the divine flow. God is clearing the clutter so that you can receive more clearly. He is fine-tuning your days so that your energy is preserved for what truly matters. You won't be drained the way you used to be. You won't overextend the way you once did, because now you know you are worthy of rest. You are worthy of balance. You are worthy of supernatural ease. Chosen one, this isn't just a new chapter, it's a new book. The old way of living, scrambling for answers, waiting on someone else to open a door, questioning your own worth, carrying shame about your needs, that version of you is gone. What's rising now is the version of you who knows they are backed by heaven, who no longer panics at closed doors, who no longer sees setbacks as failure but as divine roots, who no longer believes that provision is something earned through pain but received through presence. That's the greatest shift of all. You're no longer surviving on performance. You're thriving in presence, in being, in allowing, in aligning. And as you do that, the flow continues. You'll see the fruit. It will manifest in your physical world. Bank accounts that were once low will refill in surprising ways. Needs that once kept you up at night will be met so effortlessly, you'll wonder why you ever worried. You'll wake up to answered prayers. You'll step into unplanned blessings. You'll walk through doors you didn't knock on. And when it happens, remember, it's not luck. It's not even karma. It's divine orchestration. It's the system of heaven responding to your decision to trust, to stop panicking, to believe that you are worthy of care. You've entered a sacred frequency. And in this frequency, you are magnetic to miracles. Now is not the time to shrink. Now is not the time to doubt. This is your permission slip to dream again, to rest again, to breathe. Without tension, to expect. Again, you don't need to make sense of the how, you just need to stay in the knowing. That's what keeps the covering active. That's what expands the flow. People may try to understand your peace, and they won't be able to, because this peace, this calm in your energy, this divine trust in your eyes is not of this world. It's heaven sentient. It's birthed from faith that's been tested. You didn't just hear this word. You lived through the darkness that made this word necessary. That's why it hits so deep. That's why it's sticking. This time you are no longer just inspired. You are transformed.